But the best match I've seen live on TV was this Djokovic versus Federer match on Sunday. It was terrific. I do have problems with it, though. Because after last year's Wimbledon semifinal between John Isner and Kevin Anderson that went to 50 games in the final set, in the fifth set, where Kevin Anderson won 26-24 after just hours upon hours of playing, they decided to institute a fifth set tiebreak to eliminate marathon matches, to keep matches from getting too long. But I think they made a mistake with that because they did it for all rounds of a tournament, and they should have excluded it from the final. Because the final, having a marathon match in the final doesn't ruin the tournament, it makes it better. Having a marathon match in the semifinal round does ruin the tournament, because Kevin Anderson, after he beat Isner, he played Djokovic. What was he going to set forth against Djokovic, for being honest? He was out of gas. And that's not a knock against Kevin Anderson, but he played the match of his life against John Isner, and he just had nothing left against Djokovic, and that's why it wasn't the best of matches. It was a great effort, but there was just nothing he could do because he was too gassed. And that's why it's a problem in earlier rounds. But to do it in a final where it's not affecting anything, it's not going to affect future matches because that is the final match, I think it was dumb. I guess I suppose I should give a little recap so you know what I'm talking about. Djokovic won the first set in a tiebreak, 7-6, 7-3, I believe it was 7-5 in the first set. Federer made a couple of mistakes late, allowed Djokovic to take the set. Second set went 6-1 to Federer, dominated the set, and Djokovic seemed to check out mentally. Third set went to a tiebreak again where Djokovic won. Fourth set, dominated by Federer again. Got 2 breaks on Djokovic. Djokovic got one of them back late, but Federer was able to close out the set easily. And then in the fifth set, Djokovic broke Federer early on. Federer broke back the very next game. They went, I think, all the way to 8-all until Federer broke again. Had 2 championship points at 40-15. Lost both of them. Although one of them really, it wasn't on him. It was just a great winner by Djokovic, great passing shot. The first point at 40-15, Federer hit a inside-out forehand wide, and then the other one, Federer creeped into the net, and Djokovic hit an amazing passing shot to put it at deuce, and then Djokovic won the game. And then it went all the way to 12-all, where it went to a tiebreak, and Djokovic won the tiebreak 7-3. I think that's a terrible way to end a Wimbledon final. I think it's terrible, and especially a great match like that, because I don't think tiebreaks are representative of who the better player is. It just doesn't prove who the better player is, because it's called a tiebreak for a reason. Both players have been so good that you have to figure out a way to settle it, and that wasn't the correct way to do it in a Wimbledon final. It's fine in early sets, but not in the fifth set. You're all the way to 12-all. You might as well keep going. I mean, who cares? That was awesome to watch. Federer, to me, was the better player that day. I thought he played much better. He had more winners, and that's the thing. A lot of people bashed Federer for losing because he had a ton of unforced errors. Federer won more games, he hit more winners, he had less unforced errors, and he won more points. He was, by and large, the better player throughout the entirety of the match, won at least 6 games in each set, and Djokovic won 1 game in the second and, I believe, 4 games in the fourth. Federer was better for most of the day than Djokovic, and Djokovic won his 5th Wimbledon title because a few points went his way in a tiebreak. Tiebreaks are not representative of who the better player is. I'm sorry. Like, if Djokovic would have won in straight sets in 3 tiebreaks, that doesn't prove to me that Djokovic is better than Federer. I think Federer played the better match, Federer was the better player, and Federer right now is a better player than Djokovic is at age 37 and Djokovic at age 32. I understand people are going to say Federer had 2 championship points on his racket. He was serving for the silver gilt cup, and he let it go. I agree. He should have won. He absolutely should have beaten Djokovic and should have won one of those 2 points, or at least should have just, after it got to deuce, should have found a way to get it done. He should have, and I agree with you. But it was still going. Like, it wasn't like Federer lost that game and then the match was over. It wasn't like he needed that game to stay in it. It was even at that point. And that just showed why that match needed to continue to go on, because someone was going to break through eventually. A tiebreak is not enough to prove who the better player was on that day. I think that rule needs to be changed. I think it was terrible for, especially at Wimbledon, to do that. The most prestigious event in sports, in my opinion. Certainly the most prestigious event in professional tennis. That was a bad way to end a Wimbledon final, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I just felt like Federer was slighted that day. I felt like that was Federer's match. Yes, he should have won it on his service game, but when he lost, it was still even. It was still even. And to just kind of force it to end when it wasn't ready to end, and a couple points just don't go Federer's way, because there's more than just a couple points in a game. Like, I just don't think that was the right thing to do for a final in a Grand Slam, especially at Wimbledon. Federer, I think, was the better player that day. He had more winners, less unforced errors, more points scored, more games won. He was the better player that day. And he lost because the ATP Tour committee wanted to put a 5th set tiebreak in Grand Slams, and they should have kept it off the final. It's unfortunate, and I'm not saying Djokovic didn't deserve to win, because he played a fantastic match as well. Like, both of them were great. I thought Federer was better, but Djokovic played good as well. And I think the wrong player won, and I think you could tell too. I think you could tell by the crowd reaction at the end. I don't think the cheers would have been as loud for... I don't think they were as loud for Djokovic as they would have been for Federer. I think Federer is everything that tennis fans want in a tennis player. Plays the right way, immensely talented, has all the flair, but is extremely humble. And Djokovic, I think, is pretty much the same, except he's not extremely humble. Kind of cocky and arrogant, and wants to be loved by fans, especially at Wimbledon, but he will never live up to the reputation of Roger Federer. And I know it seems like I'm bashing Djokovic here, but all in all, just in short, I think the wrong player won the match. I think Federer was the better player that day, and I just think it was unfortunate. I don't think there should be 5th set tiebreakers in the final of Grand Slams, but there should be in earlier rounds to prevent fatigue.